Su Hang. The Tang family estate. Tonight is the birthday banquet of the Tang family elder, and every high society name in Su Hang has shown up. And right in the middle of it, a handsome young man with sword-sharp brows and bright eyes suddenly shivered like ice water had just trickled down his spine. Scrambling to sort through the memories flooding his head, Tang Yu felt dazed. And more than a little terrified. His heart hammered. How had he landed here again? How had he become the villain in some cheap web novel? He was a die-hard fan of online fiction. He'd burned through at least 1,800 urban novels. And recently, a villain system had switched on inside his mind. That cursed thing dumped him into urban novels as the bad guy, and every time he survived a major plot beat, it paid him in rewards. Survive all the way to the end, and he'd go home to his own world loaded with rewards and riches. One small problem: he always started on infernal difficulty. Take his 8th trip. He was a security guard whose entire job was blocking the protagonist from walking into the company building. And as everyone knows, being security or a bodyguard in an urban novel is basically a death sentence. That time, the protagonist, Long Shui, hurled him into a window and snapped his neck. The novel before that was even more ridiculous. The lead there was the Northern Celestial Supreme. Beixian Tianzuan, a Celestial Supreme who failed his tribulation, reincarnated, and came back to the city to cultivate. The kind of monster who catches missiles barehanded. As the villain, Tang Yu got flattened. He didn't even get one line out before a single slap put him in the ground. The master shows you the path, but fate walks you to your grave. That's the kind of protagonist we're dealing with. System, what novel is this? Tang Yu asked silently. This is Dragon King Warplay in Su Hang. We are currently in chapter 57. The system's cold voice echoed in his skull. The second it finished, Tang Yu's memory of the plot came rushing back. Another standard urban novel. The protagonist's name is Chen. Born into a powerful family in Yanjing, a family wiped out when he was 5 years old. An old man spirited him abroad and forged him into the finest assassin alive. He then founded the world's #1 mercenary organization, Dragon Soul, and earned himself a title, the Dragon King. On top of that, his medical skills are unmatched worldwide, and he can pull the most reliable intel out of thin air. Now he's back in the country under a false name, hunting the truth behind his family's massacre. And, of course, seducing dozens of women, building a harem, and climbing to the absolute peak of life. Tang Yu, meanwhile, is the young heir of the Tang family, the first of the 4 great families of Su Hang. Family assets in the billions. Playing a role like that should be an honor. But it doesn't matter how rich or noble a villain is. He's still just a speed bump on the protagonist's road. Chapter 57. The plot of Chapter 57. Damn it, am I about to die again? Tang Yu's face drained of color as the details surfaced. According to this novel, today is his grandfather's birthday banquet. And at this banquet, Tang Yu gets engaged to the first female lead, Su Muyue. The Su family is also one of the 4 great families of Su Hang, dead last in the rankings, but still one of the 4. Tang Yu was Su Muyue's lapdog. For 3 years he'd burned through his family's fortune to help her, protect her, spoil her, and Su Muyue never once looked his way. Eventually the elders of the Tang family had swallowed all the humiliation they could stomach, and decided to arrange a betrothal with the Su family. But when Chen, the Dragon King, caught wind of it, he tore the place apart and dragged Su Muyue right out of the birthday party. And Tang Yu, the lapdog everyone loved to humiliate, was beaten into a vegetative state by Chen and died not long after. What a poisonous trap! Running the plot through his head, Tang Yu couldn't stop himself from cursing out the character he'd woken up inside of. This villain was a complete idiot. A top student, a Yale graduate, good-looking, worth billions, and he'd spend 3 whole years chasing a woman who couldn't stand the sight of him? If he were rich and handsome, he'd already be behind the wheel of a Cadillac, having the time of his life at the clubs. No. I need a way out of this. Tang Yu scanned the hall. Today was his grandfather's birthday party, and the place was packed with guests. Soon his eyes stopped on the face of one young man. That man was Chen. He sat quietly in a corner, swirling a glass of red wine. Right now, Chen was nothing more than Su Muyue's bodyguard. Anyone who knows how these stories go knows exactly what comes next. I'm not getting engaged. And just as that thought crossed his mind, a beautiful young woman in a blue dress walked up to him. Ice-cold expression, beauty that didn't belong in this world. Naturally, this was the leading lady, Su Muyue. She stopped in front of Tang Yu, looked at him with a flicker of disgust, and said flatly, "Mr. Tang, please stop bothering me. Let's call off the engagement." "I don't agree to it." Tang Yu already had his answer ready, and honestly, he was thrilled to hear it, so he simply nodded. "I agree." Maybe it was because he agreed so fast, but Su Muyue just froze. She stared at him, eyes wide, refusing to believe her own ears. Had she misheard? And in that exact moment, a strange voice echoed inside her head. "Don't marry. I thank you in the 18th generation of your ancestors. I'll repay every one of your flaws and virtues in my next life. Now hurry up, run off with your Chen, laugh, have fun, his harem's waiting on you." Hearing that, she frowned and glanced around the hall. Who was talking? The voice sounded exactly like Tang Yu's, except his lips hadn't moved at all. Was she imagining things? What's wrong? Weren't we calling off the engagement? Let's go tell the elders. Tang Yu pressed on with a calm little smile. He smiled to himself. No engagement, no reason for Chen to come after him. Simple, right? That lucky bastard could have it all. The villain would just stay out of his way and go on living as a rich, handsome man right up to the final page. Perfect. Fine. Su Muyue nodded and followed after him, ready to break the news to the elders. Tang Yu walked ahead, face perfectly composed, while inside he was celebrating. Beautiful. Cut ties with this stupid woman, and Chen never lays a finger on me. That's how I survive to the end of this novel. Shame, though. The most beautiful woman in Su Hang ends up in Chen's harem and drags the entire Su family down with her. What a ridiculous plot. The complaints started up again. And now Su Muyue was certain that was Tang Yu's voice. Because in that hallway, there was no one else. Just the two of them. Known as the most beautiful woman in Su Hang, and not just for her face. Her mind and her talent were what really set her apart. She put the pieces together in seconds, and her expression darkened. Chen? The bodyguard she'd hired not long ago. Back then, a few thugs had cornered her and he was the one who stepped in and saved her. He clearly knew how to fight, so she decided to bring him on as the Su family's bodyguard. Once he took the job, he helped her with all sorts of things. They grew close. There was even a bit of flirting between them. But a harem? Why on earth should she become one of the women in a lowly bodyguard's harem and drag her whole family into a scandal? Right then, her feelings about Chen were tangled up in knots. How could a woman as proud as her end up as one girl among many, belonging to a hired guard? Su Hang. The Tang family estate. Today is the birthday celebration of the Tang family elder, and every high society name in Su Hang has shown up. A handsome young man with sword-sharp brows and bright eyes suddenly shivered, a chill crawling straight down his spine. Sorting through the memories flooding his head, Tang Yu felt dazed and more than a little scared. His heart hammered. How had he landed here? How had he become the villain in some cheap web novel? He was a hardcore fan of online fiction. He'd burned through at least 1,800 urban-style novels. And recently, a villain system had switched on inside his mind. That damned system ordered him to play the villain in urban novels. Every time he survived a major plot beat, he'd get rewards. Survive all the way to the end, and he could go home to his own world loaded with rewards and riches. Small problem, he always started on infernal difficulty. Take his 8th trip into a novel. He was a security guard whose job was to stop the protagonist from walking into the company building. And as everyone knows, working security or bodyguard duty in an urban novel is a near-certain death sentence. That time, his destiny was to be hurled through a window by the protagonist, Long Shui, and snap his neck on the way down. The novel before that was even more ridiculous. The protagonist there was the Northern Celestial Supreme. Beixin Tianzuan, a celestial supreme who failed to pass his tribulation, reincarnated, and came back to the city to rebuild his power. The kind of man who can stop a missile with one bare hand. As the villain, he was swatted aside instantly. He didn't even get a line out before a single slap knocked him cold. The master shows you the path, but fate marches you to your grave. That's the caliber of protagonist we're dealing with here. System, which novel is this? Tang Yu asked in his head. This is Dragon King Warplay in Su Hang. We are currently in chapter 57. The system's cold voice echoed back. The moment it answered, Tang Yu raced through everything he remembered about this story. Another textbook urban novel. The protagonist's name is Chen. He came from a powerful family in Yinjing, a family wiped out when he was just 5 years old. An old man took him abroad and forged him into the finest assassin alive. He went on to build the world's #1 mercenary organization, Dragon Soul, and earned himself the title Dragon King. On top of that, his medical skills are unmatched anywhere on Earth, and he can pull the most reliable intelligence out of thin air. Now he's returned to China under a false name, hunting for the truth behind the slaughter of his family. And on top of that, seduce dozens of women, build himself a harem, and ride all of it straight to the top of the world. Meanwhile, Tang Yu is the young heir of the Tang family, #1 among the 4 great families of Su Hang. Family assets in the billions. Honestly, playing a role like that should feel like winning the lottery. But here's the thing, no matter how rich, how noble the villain is, he's still just a speed bump on the protagonist's road. The plot of chapter 57, oh no. Am I about to die? Again? The blood drained from Tang Yu's face as the memories came flooding back. Because according to this novel, today is his grandfather's birthday banquet. And at this banquet, Tang Yu gets engaged to the female lead, Su Muyue. The Su family is also one of the 4 great families of Su Hang, dead last in the rankings, but still. Tang Yu is Su Muyue's lapdog. 3 years he's poured his family's resources into her, fussing over her, taking care of her. And in all that time? She never spared him so much as a glance. Eventually the Tang family elders had swallowed enough humiliation, and they went and arranged a betrothal with the Su family. Then Chen, the Dragon King, heard about it. He blew the whole banquet apart and walked out with Su Muyue on his arm. As for Tang Yu, the lapdog who got humiliated in every chapter, Chen beat him into a vegetable, and he died not long after. What a poisonous, rigged little trap this is. Running through the plot in his head, Tang Yu couldn't stop himself from cursing out the character he'd been dropped into. This villain is a certified idiot. A Yale graduate. Top of his class. Good looking. Worth billions. And he spends 3 years chasing a woman who looks at him like something stuck to her shoe? If it were him rich, handsome, all of it, he'd already be behind the wheel of a Cadillac, out having the time of his life at the clubs. No. I need a way out of this. Tang Yu swept his eyes across the hall. Grandfather's birthday banquet, the place was packed with guests. And then his gaze stopped on one young man's face. Chen. Tucked quietly into a corner, swirling a glass of red wine. Right now, Chen is officially Su Muyue's bodyguard. And anyone who's read a book like this knows exactly where that goes. I am not getting engaged. Just as that thought was running through his head, a stunning young woman in a blue dress walked straight toward him. Cold as frost, beautiful beyond words, the female lead herself, Su Muyue. She stopped in front of Tang Yu, looked at him with the faintest trace of disgust, and said flatly, "Mr. Tang, please stop pestering me. Let's call off this engagement. I don't agree to it." Tang Yu had already sorted out his plan, and hearing this was music to his ears, so he gave a calm little nod. "I agree." Maybe it was how fast he said it, because Su Muyue just froze. She stared at him, eyes wide, refusing to believe her own ears. Did she mishear that? And in that same moment, a strange voice echoed inside her head. "Don't marry me. I'd thank 18 generations of your ancestors." Grace and favor, I'll pay it all back in my next life. Now hurry up and run off with your Yi Chen, laugh, have fun, his harem's got a spot with your name on it. Hearing that, she frowned and glanced around the hall. Who was talking? The voice sounded a lot like Tang Yu's, but his mouth hadn't moved at all. Was she imagining things? What's wrong? Weren't we calling off the engagement? Come on, let's go tell the elders. Tang Yu prompted her with a calm little smile. Tang Yu smiled to himself. No engagement, no reason for Yi Chen to come after him. Right? This lucky guy, the villain, just had to keep his head down, avoid poking the bear, and coast to the end as a rich, handsome man. Perfect. Okay. Su Muyue nodded and followed Tang Yu, ready to go talk to the elders. Tang Yu walked ahead with a calm face, but inside he was practically celebrating. This is great. Cut ties with this foolish woman, and Yi Chen won't come after me. That way I actually survive to the last page of the novel. Shame, though, the most beautiful woman in Su Hang ends up in Yi Chen's harem and drags the Su family down with her. What a ridiculous plot. The complaints started echoing again. And Su Muyue was certain that voice belonged to Tang Yu. Because in that hallway, there was no one else. Just the two of them. They called her the most beautiful woman in Su Hang, and not only for her face. Her mind and talent were just as extraordinary. She pieced it all together fast, and a grim look crossed her face. Yi Chen? He was the bodyguard she'd hired not long ago. Back then, when a group of thugs jumped her, he was the one who stepped in. Seeing how skilled he was, she decided to bring him on as the Su family's bodyguard. After that, Yi Chen helped her with all sorts of things. They grew close friends, even a little flirting here and there. But a harem? Why on earth would she end up in the harem of some bodyguard and bring ruin to her own family? In that instant, her feelings about Yi Chen twisted into something complicated. How could a woman as proud as her ever be one of many, belonging to a lowly bodyguard? When the group returned to the hall, Grandpa Tang first thanked the guests who'd come for his birthday. Then he called Tang Yu and Su Muyue forward and announced to the room, "Dear family and friends, today I have one more piece of good news to share. Our Tang family has decided to join hands with the Su family. From this day on, Su Muyue will be the granddaughter-in-law of the Tang family." The moment Mr. Tang finished, applause burst through the banquet hall. The Su family, above all, was overjoyed. But Yi Chen, standing in a corner nursing a glass of red wine, went stiff at the news, and his face turned black. Murder written all over his face, he started walking straight toward Tang Yu. Su Muyue was the woman he wanted. And anyone who tried to take her would die. Damn it, here he comes, and he's out for blood. Why are you like this, man? Am I really destined to eat a punch today? Right then, Tang Yu's complaints rang out again. Su Muyue glanced sideways, and there was Yi Chen, closing in, murder in his eyes. That caught her off guard. Every member of the Su family was already at the banquet. A bodyguard showing up here made no sense at all. And yet, Yi Chen was there. Exactly as this guy had predicted. "I object to this marriage," Yi Chen said coldly, stopping 3 meters short. Every eye in the room swung toward him. The guests were nobles and big names from Su Hang. Apart from a handful of Su family members, nobody had any idea who this man was. Su Chongshan remembered this Yi Chen was the Su family's new bodyguard. Watching him step forward to make a scene, Su Chongshan's face darkened. He shot to his feet and roared. "Who do you think you are? A mere bodyguard, dictating the affairs of my Su family?" A flicker of killing intent flashed through Yi Chen's eyes. If the man saying this hadn't been Su Muyue's father, he would have made his move already. "I am the mighty Dragon King. I've walked the world, crossed foreign lands. Princes and nobles of Europe tremble at my name. Not one of them would dare speak to me like that." His gaze swept over every member of the Su family, and one by one, he pointed them out. A noble house like the Su's, trading a young woman's happiness for the family's fortune. Tell me, do you feel even a shred of shame? Ha ha ha, here we go, the classic novel scene is officially underway. Never mind sticking your nose in other people's business, next you'll throw a punch and play the hero saving the beauty, and guess who ends up cursed? The Su family. But hey, you're the protagonist of a great novel, so don't let people like this rattle you. They're all just your stepping stones anyway, so go on, splash some water on them. Tang Yu's grumbling came through again. In the original plot, Su Muyue's family forced her into that marriage. And at her lowest, her most hopeless moment, the Dragon King came to the rescue. Chen shattered the chains binding her, became the only thing holding her up, and she fell for him, hard, the very first woman in Chen's harem. But right now, Su Muyue only frowned a little. She didn't move. She didn't look the least bit surprised. After listening to Tang Yu's thoughts for a while, her whole view of things had flipped upside down. You've crossed the line. Since when does a mere bodyguard stir up trouble? Throw him out of the hall. Su Chongshan roared. Just then, a tall man in a sharp suit stepped forward. He, captain of the Tang family's bodyguards. He was ex-special forces, a retired soldier. Naturally, as captain of the Tang family guards, he was fiercely capable and fiercely loyal. In the original plot, he was the first to move and the first to die. Beaten to death. And right after that, it would be Tang Yu's turn for a very bad day. Don't be reckless. Tang Yu quickly stepped in front of He and talked him down. If there's something to say it calmly. Today is my grandfather's birthday. Ruining the mood wouldn't be right. Hearing his young master speak, He stood down. See that? Young Tang has real class. He doesn't stoop to the level of these barbarians, He said. If it were me, I'd have tossed him out, beaten him to death, and fed him to the dogs. My guess? He wants to snatch young Tang's woman. But look at him, is he even in the running, with a sorry face like that? Young Tang, just give him a beating. The onlookers heaped praise on Tang Yu and got a few kicks in at Chen, the standard playbook of urban novels. First, use bystanders to stoke the protagonist's rage. Then the villain jumps in, runs his mouth, and gets flattened. Hearing all this, Tang Yu started to sweat. Why are they screaming so much? Could they maybe tone it down a notch? Sure, cursing him out feels great, but the one who gets beaten to death at the end of this is me. And sure enough, after that chorus of insults, Chen's face drained of color, and he shot Tang Yu a look full of resentment. This guy's the reason. If he hadn't been circling Su Muyue, none of this would be happening. The hell? Why are you staring at me? I'm not the one running my mouth. I didn't even ask anyone to back me up, what more do you want? If you're going to hit someone, get on with it. Just don't come at me, you stinking idiot. Tang Yu's whole body went stiff as he looked at him, sighing on the inside. This guy is the Dragon King. Every bodyguard in the Tang family, all of them at once, wouldn't be enough to hold him for a minute. Push him too far, and by tonight everyone under this roof could be paying for it. Su Muyue, listening to all of this, couldn't hold it in and burst out laughing. Seeing her laugh, Chen's face softened. He figured she was laughing because she'd stood up for him. Then he smiled, a slow mischievous curve pulling at the corner of his mouth, and stepped closer. Muyue, no one gets to trade your freedom for profit. With me here, you go wherever you want. Anyone who stops you dies. Beside him, Tang Yu quietly took 2 steps back, putting some distance between them, and felt a small wave of relief. Yes, hurry up. If you can get Su Muyue out of here, then go. Right now. In the original plot, Tang Yu had already sent his bodyguard in to act. Now he'd held the bodyguard back. If this guy walks off with Su Muyue, then whatever happens next has nothing to do with him. Chen stepped forward to take Su Muyue's hand, ready to pull her out of the Tang household. But before his fingers reached her, she retreated 2 paces and fixed him with an ice-cold stare. What are you doing? Have you lost your mind? Since when has my freedom been sacrificed? After listening to Tang Yu's thoughts for a while, Su Muyue had figured out exactly what was going on. The world she lived in was apparently a made-up world out of some cheap novel. And by the usual script, this guy was supposed to take her away right about now. The thought of ending up as one more girl in his harem made her stomach turn. Yi Chen's face registered surprise, and a flicker of anger lit up his eyes. How dare this woman turn him down? Doesn't she understand? When the whole world betrays her, he's willing to betray the whole world for her. Then something clicked. He looked at Su Muyue again and smiled. Muyue, I know what you're afraid of. Relax. As long as I'm standing here, the Tang family wouldn't dare touch you. And with that, he turned a cold look on Tang Yu. She didn't dare come with him. Clearly that guy was putting pressure on her. The eldest son of the Tang family? Don't make him laugh. It just means that in this country, you can't go around killing people. Abroad, one word from him and 100 mercenaries would move. The Tang family would be wiped off the map in a heartbeat. Are you brain dead or something? Why do you care about my petty little business? I already told the bodyguard to stand down. And Su Muyue, you are one cruel woman. Are you putting on this act to protect him? I'll give you $1 million. Just leave. Stop torturing me. Tang Yu was at his wits' end. Something was seriously wrong with both of these people's heads. You're overthinking it. You're just a bodyguard of the Su family. As of today, you're fired. Get out. Now. Anger flashed across Su Muyue's beautiful face as she pointed at the door and raised her voice. And that anger wasn't only aimed at Yi Chen. Tang Yu got a share of it too. Why does this idiot keep assuming she and Yi Chen are close? The more she said, the more Yi Chen adored her. See? She's trying to protect me, so she's deliberately playing the villain. She's got me in her heart. Honestly, she's exactly the kind of woman I like. Understanding. Sensible. Thoughtful. Then he looked at Su Muyue, his gaze turning soft, almost tender. The smile on his lips curled sharper, darker, the smile of a man who already knew he'd won. Muyue, I'm never letting you go. As long as I'm standing beside you, you don't have to worry about a single thing. The Tang family? They're nothing to me.